Hi and welcome to the full interview with Laura Rightel from CreativeHQ. This is where we talked innovation, startup cultures and community behind it, and why we need to encourage more collaboration in this space. Okay, Morgan, let's go.
Thank you, Stan. Right, we're sitting in another bar, and this time we're sitting in the Fork and Brewer. Thank you very much, Fork and Brewer. And we're sitting here with Laura from, well, I don't know where you're from actually, Laura. I know you're from Estonia, but where in Wellington and the tech scene do you fit?
Right now, CreativeHQ, which is a Wellington-based incubator. And also, I guess I'm tied with Lighting Lab, been mentoring and helping Sam and Dan run the show from the sidelines.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
The brains behind the operation.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I've got the beer, you've got the coffee, fair enough. Tell us a bit about your background, Laura, and especially as how I met you originally was around the tech startup scene here in Wellington and New Zealand, and you had some excellent ideas and experiences, I suppose, from, and I said Portland before, and it's not Portland, it was... Boulder. So you've had great experience in Boulder around the tech scene, and hopefully bringing it here to New Zealand.
Yeah, so I had the advantage of working at Techstars for a couple of years, and Techstars is an accelerator program similar to Lighting Lab.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Lighting Lab is sort of based around the Techstars model as such.
Yeah.
And so they are really good at, have been good at scaling the platform and the acceleration in US. And I was there quite early days in 2011 and 12 when we got approached by all kinds of different countries and people trying to create something like that in their own home countries. And I had a pleasure of helping organize or put together an organization called the Global Accelerator Network that Lighting Lab is now a part of. So I ended up consulting these accelerators around the globe and helping them understand what makes a quality program and how to actually add value to the startups. So that's what I did in Boulder, but I also had, they have an amazing, scrap that.
They have an average.
No average.
It's okay. We'll edit this bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boulder also has a really, really awesome community as such. It's I've never seen anything like that. People genuinely work hand in hand. Different entrepreneurs. There is no such concept as being competitive. It's more being collaborative and everybody winning from that. Which is a great lesson to have seen in real life and firsthand.
Yeah.
And,
so is Boulder a big place? Are we talking millions and millions of people?
No, it's a tiny place. It's actually way smaller than Wellington.
Oh, really?
It's 100,000 people.
Wow, okay.
And 25,000 of them are students who basically leave for summer. It's
they
a
come in
student
and
town.
go away.
Yeah.
I had for some, the whole of New Zealand. It's big. It's got the name Boulder. It must be big, surely.
Yeah.
So it's not stone or pebble. Yeah. Well, there you go. And then, so you were there and helped set up that network of countries that came to look at that and go, we need a bit of that. That's awesome. So the network was set up to help that happen.
Yeah.
And then you got on the plane and ended up in New Zealand.
Yes, a very lovely lady who used to work at CreativeHQ called Tui Tahau. Tui managed to get me over here. So she built a relationship with me over 2 years and finally convinced me to come on board. And so it is all about the people and people who champion Wellington as a place to be.
Yeah, very cool. So then you came to New Zealand, and I'm sure it was sold to you in glowing terms in Wellington. It was, we're just on the brink of being another Boulder. And then you got here in Wellington particularly, I suppose, that's where you came, but New Zealand, what's your views on how it is? What is the reality?
It's certainly different. You guys are very much away from the rest of the world. It is an island in the middle of the ocean. Boulder is in the middle of the US, so that's a similarity. But resources are kind of further away in New Zealand, which makes it hard if you're a startup and want to go and take over the world.
Yeah.
So I think it matters a lot that more so here than anywhere else, to build strong relationships with Kiwis abroad, businesses abroad, just so, and I mean real genuine relationships with business leaders to help you grow out of New Zealand.
It's interesting because you hear a lot, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. Oh, the one I love is the Moxie Sessions podcast, and they talk a lot about how the internet plays and works with New Zealand, and that whole problem of being far away is often talked about as being solved. The internet has solved that for us. What's your view on that?
The internet has solved a lot of it, but I think nothing replaces human interaction.
Yep.
So I think that's still very much a thing. And I mean, there are programs, obviously, that New Zealand has, like Kiwi Landing Pad, that helps with that.
Yeah.
I just think, Kiwi Landing Pad should also maybe be in Asia, or maybe be in some other areas, maybe in Europe, not just Silicon Valley, where everybody aims to go. So markets are all around us, and you have the benefit of being close to Asia, yet it's a very, very different world out there, and oftentimes far more difficult to approach than the US.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely, internet has solved the problem of being far away, but I think because we are here and we're a little isolated, people locally should work hand in hand a little bit more than maybe has been done before.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm with you there. I totally get that. Interesting article that we'll be talking about, or we may have talked about it actually, is from Victoria, Optimal BI.
Yes.
That she put up, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, mentioned it, which was about just an idea of trying to solve the dev, or we don't have enough devs. Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, that's right.
Yeah.
Which is that, again, reaching out and trying to not be competitive, but collaborative.
Exactly.
Do you think that's actually got any legs to stand on in Wellington and New Zealand? Do you think that will happen?
I think that'll happen. I see a lot of very positive things happening in Wellington and New Zealand as a whole. I feel like, the fact that Lighting Lab is now moving to Auckland and Christchurch is a clear indication that we're all playing in the same sandbox and we're playing well, together well. But yeah, I agree with the dev, basically the lack of people with technical skills.
Yeah.
But I think we do have a lot of very good universities around. Christchurch, Dunedin, Wellington, Auckland, Hamilton. All of those places have quality programs and quality people coming out of those programs. I think it's just a matter of the tech community working more closely together with universities and getting to know the students while they're all studying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So maybe, there's the programs like Summer of Tech that attach students to startups.
Yeah.
There are also hackathons that we're now, or people from within the community are organizing that want to include students.
Okay.
There's programs like Dev Academy that now try to train more and more people for the local basically work ecosystem.
Yeah.
So there's definitely things happening around that.
I guess it's going to take some time for those students to come through and actually, when they're ready to actually work.
Yeah, and
so
I think
in the meantime we have to look elsewhere, don't we, until they're ready. Right?
I think that's a really good point. Like, things like that take time. So I think having like a long-term view around startups and tech community as such is an important factor to keep in mind. Nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
Same with startups in general. Like, business takes time. Usually they don't succeed or sell for billions in year one. It takes 5 to 10 years generally. Even looking at Green Button and Zero, and how long it's taken for them to really kick things off. So same with startup ecosystem, and same with the quality people around. I think we just need to start young and grow from there.
So do you see that we're at the beginning of the journey, not halfway through? This is...
I certainly...
Compare us to Boulder. Where are we on that? You know, if I look at them as old people who've done it, are we just coming out of our nappies, or where are we?
I think definitely we're behind.
Yep.
But most areas that are not within the United States are behind somewhat. Boulder, their ecosystem has been strong and growing over the last, say, 15 years. So they started really focusing on that a while back.
Yeah.
And really have a strong network of people around who really promote Boulder as a destination and as a place to establish business at. I think we are younger. I would say that we're probably in the first 3 years space, or not 3, 5 year space.
Yeah.
So we're still a decade behind. But I think, you know, technology has evolved over the last decade also so significantly that we can catch up.
Yeah.
Faster than before.
Yeah.
Yet in terms of...
will we be able to catch up, or will they move forward and will we still play catch up for many years, you know? Like you look how far ahead Korea are compared to, say, us in terms of infrastructure and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I suppose...
So you wonder, are we still always going to be playing catch up? Or one day will it be a level playing field?
I think it's also a matter of us finding a niche, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be another Boulder. You don't want to be another Silicon Valley. I think Wellington and New Zealand should be Wellington or New Zealand in general. And you know, you have film industry. There's that you can play, and that could be a niche.
Yeah.
There's a lot of accounting software around and point of sale systems. So maybe
there are POS ones. Yes, there are.
You know, so maybe that's a niche in terms of you really understanding it, because you have the second-time entrepreneurs coming out of these companies. You have the recycled capital coming out of these companies. And that's an important know-how and experience to have in a city, and you have quite a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of Wellington discovering or having a personality, identity. And that's something to just think about.
That's a fascinating concept.
We're still trying to be somebody else.
What's our own voice? What's our own identity? What's hipster, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Craft beer
since accounting isn't, you know, sexy, maybe that's a good thing.
Well, yeah. one of the stories I heard Rod years ago talk about was it. Make accounting the thing that people said, I will want to do that, as opposed to, I don't want to do that. There's a big story behind the backstory behind why Xero existed. Involves his wife. The point around Wellington. Are you focused on Wellington per se? You just said that, you know, Lightning Lab is going to be moving. Lightning Lab is moving around. Do you see that Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch, Dunedin, all the main centres, are they different in the way that they approach startups?
Yeah.
I'm trying that voice of Wellington that we may or may not have. Does Auckland have a voice, for instance, or does Christchurch have its own voice?
Yeah, so I don't know maybe to answer that in depth, because I've only been in New Zealand for a year. But from what I know is, from what I've heard from people and visiting those places, and the impression I get from that is Dunedin, for example, has a very, very strong university. Some of the great technologists and also startups are coming out of Dunedin, but they move elsewhere because apparently people leave Dunedin because there's nothing else to do than besides the uni.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing, and I wish they really leverage that more. In terms of Christchurch is very active. Their community is actually incredibly active after the earthquakes, with the Epic Centre and now Lighting Lab moving in, but also the University of Canterbury entrepreneurial club there run by students is very active. And what I've noticed is there's more hardware companies coming out of Christchurch.
Oh, okay. Physically, things you can touch.
Exactly. So that might potentially be their niche.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess Auckland would be more for business, telecom, financial
The boring stuff.
Yeah.
No, don't have to agree with it.
No.
I said it. It's okay.
But yeah, they probably have more of that going on. Wellington has the government.
The boring stuff.
The boring stuff, but government that, from what I'm also gathering and from your talks with Stephen last week, is really trying to innovate internally, which is a great indication, and also opens hopefully more gates for local small businesses to actually get involved and help them innovate.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yes.
And Wellington has definitely as you said, the hipster thing going for it. Microbreweries, cool place to hang out.
Yeah.
It's a great place to live, and I think, so is Queenstown. But Queenstown doesn't yet, at least, have the tech scene that we already have. Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of moving to a place where people actually want to spend their time and lives. Wellington has that going for it.
Yeah.
And I think, high tech capital initiative by Grow Wellington and is again a really good way to promote the city as a destination.
Fantastic. Do you see, because we are a small wee nation, well no, we're a big nation, there's not many people on it or in it. It's actually quite a big
The land size.
chunk of land.
Got some space.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bigger than Britain.
That's about the same, isn't it? Same price.
No, a bit slightly bigger than
It's
Britain.
bigger. I actually have Googled that fact.
Yeah.
So we can afford to have a whole lot more people here then.
Yeah, well, they've got 65 million or something like that, and we've got 4.6 million. So, it's big but empty, which is fine. And most of them live in one place. Is there the concept, or do you think there's the concept of, and I'm going to ask, this is for you as well, Raj, of this NZ Inc., this whole, the country as a company and promoting it with one face, or do you think that's a valid thing to do?
I think it does make it easier to present stuff out and about, like the lightning lab, the touchpad, landing pad
The landing
scenario.
pad, yeah.
That doesn't give one little central voice platform. It does help.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of other little voices that need to go along with it. So it's cool. It's like an initial first landing, first boots on the ground makes sense. Once we're there, we should be bringing everyone over,
Yeah, I think the same, coming from a small country, Estonia is very small, even smaller than New Zealand.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
we only have 1 million people, so
Seriously?
you beat us for
Wow.
several times over.
Yet they're still a few years ahead of us. What's that about?
Yeah, so we have a crazy good infrastructure that works for us. But the same way, like we with Estonia, we have to promote it in a kind of unified front.
Yep.
There's only so much you can get out there about your country or your city or the amazing things that grow out of a place. So I think it makes perfect sense for New Zealand to have that unified front as well.
Yeah.
Anybody who is interested will figure out more and learn more. But I think, definitely makes sense.
That's a very good call. Yeah, I've been hearing people saying, I don't want to live in a company, I live in a country. And that's an interesting point that, anyone interested who wants to know more will very quickly find out more.
But like it or not, we've always been branded either way, whether All Blacks or we're the guys that produce all the milk and beef products.
Yeah.
We're always going to be labelled in certain markets as that particular country anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
So New Zealand's known for something.
Yeah.
Every
so we
country's
might as
known.
well be known in this particular sector in the world, say the tech, we're known for this stuff. Just the zero exact, etc.
I think maybe one thing that might help with that is like how there's a lot of tech in US and everybody these days wants to build an awesome startup community, and there's always a ton of talk around that. But let's look at the cities that done it really, really well, coming sort of out of nowhere. Is like Austin, Texas, because they have South by Southwest, and they stand out with that. Paris, that nobody ever considered as a destination for startups, has Le Web, which is a huge conference. So maybe if if New Zealand, Wellington or Auckland or wherever would come up with a concept like that would actually attract a certain very specific group of people to make a dot on the face of the earth on a bigger scale, that might help.
Do we not have that? Webstock?
Webstock? That's a local thing.
Is it?
It feels to me as a local thing. I had never heard of it before.
That's interesting.
But if we turn that into something that people will want to come to, evolved it.
Well, if they turn it into something.
Well, yeah, we're already busy, so. But what if there's something else, like a big massive thing in the middle of nowhere?
A week of something.
Yeah, because we've got farmland that we could do that kind of stuff with. Set up massive tents everywhere,
Oh, I see.
a shitload of Wi-Fi, and then off we go. A couple of bands. We've got a lot of
Very
bands
hipster.
here. Yeah.
But
That's a fascinating call, though. Yeah.
so just like seeing how different communities evolved at Denver and Boulder, they grouped up and they have DFRAG, which is a very, very technical conference. So it's very known among serious tech people. So I think if we had something like that, that might attract more attention. But also talking about startup communities in general, what makes a quality startup community, I guess, is not just the amount of social networking events that you have. It's really all about, having the resources, having the mentorship, having the ability to grow as a person or as a company. And people contributing to that cause makes a difference. At the same time, I completely agree that startup communities are led by entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs only. So, companies that I work for, CreativeHQ and Lighting Lab and the universities around and city councils and co-working spaces like Biz Dojo, we're here to help with that cause. So we're the feeders. If there's something missing, we try to fill the gap with our resources. But I think entrepreneurs should do what they're really good at. But it also means sharing experiences and know-how and contacts. So if we have more of that, I think that will benefit us all.
Wow.
It's quite a lot. That's really good stuff.
It's a great call out. It's a great call to action, I suppose, for those that have done it to put something back.
And a lot of people are doing that, right? And that's a great thing to see. A lot of them have started meetup groups, which is really cool because if it's something that they know that they devote time for, that's an awesome thing. And I think the biggest mistake you can do as an entrepreneur is also get distracted by all of the community stuff. So if you just focus on what you're good at and share that know-how with the people that want to learn from you, that is a great thing. But also, I think the challenge here is not to spread yourself too thin and lose focus on what you're here meant to be, like what it is that you're actually doing or want to get to.
And we are small but nimble, but not quite connected. Not quite connected in a. This is my view. In a unreal way. We seem to be connected by. How do I put this?
We're holiday close.
We're holiday close.
So Christmas times, social events, we'll hang out and chat.
Yes.
Every other time of the year, we never hear from each other.
There you go. I wish I thought of that. Holiday close. That's a very good call.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Yeah.
To me.
But there's still little pockets of closeness.
And also, I feel that Wellington Auckland, to pick one, is not even holiday close. Well, it is. It's events that people come down for. You really.
You can have a beer with someone, have a chit chat. Sometimes you talk about work.
Yeah.
And then we'll catch up next week about this. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, I think that you only have so much time, and I don't want to be too critical by saying that nothing is happening and nobody's connecting or collaborating, because that's not true either.
Yeah.
I just feel like there should be more of it, and more of like real, genuine, close relationships, like actually having, learning from one another. I'm not very technical, the very, basic things about coding, but what I've discovered is by showing up to developer events, I've actually received a very warm welcome by just saying I want to learn more and I don't know enough.
Yeah.
And people from within that community are now, chatting to me on monthly basis. We just exchange ideas. What's happening with you? What's happening with me? Just keeping tabs on one another. and that helps me learn where are the gaps within the community, like what are people doing around me, where can I add value. That's my job.
Yeah.
That's what I do, but that's also what I'm passionate about. And I think if entrepreneurs, with their limited amount of time, we're doing the same, and also like helping out younger people because they've been there, done that. I think that would also groom another generation of awesome entrepreneurs within the city.
Cool.
And yes, between the cities, there's definitely a competitive edge between Wellington and Auckland, but
Really?
nobody ever noticed.
No, that's right.
But I think people are generally nice, and New Zealand at the same time is small enough. When there's usually 60 degrees of separation, I feel like you over here probably have two. So if you do want to get in touch with somebody, usually that's possible.
Yeah.
You just have to work for it.
You just have to reach out and do it.
And I think that's another thing. People don't ask for help often enough.
You think that's a New Zealand thing, or just generally people don't do that?
I feel like in US, it's everybody always asks for stuff,
Okay.
and sometimes it's exhausting. But I feel like here people should be asking for more stuff and don't do it enough. So I don't know if it's a New Zealand thing. It's the same in Estonia. I think it's just it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
It's the thing that you ought to go there and do everything yourself.
Yeah.
And be proud of it, and you kind of see it as a sign of weakness if you have asked for help.
Yeah.
And I think we should just get over that.
There you go.
That's a good point.
Get over it. Right?
I have to get over it.
Raj,
No, I know I do.
When you want to help, mate,
Yeah.
I'm here for you.
All right, I'm still not used to that.
That's right. Fair enough.
Not used to asking.
Hey, Laura, thank you so much. Hey, and what did we do? We reached out and said, could we interview you, please?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That's
and
all it takes.
yeah, and I'm actually running an event series. It's a meetup group called Startup Garage. So
We talked about you
yeah,
the other day. Yes.
woohoo!
That was you.
I'm famous.
I did not know. The CreativeHQ one
Yes,
that we talked about.
the Greek HQ is coming up, and 2 weeks ago we had our first Startup Open event with Snapper.
Yeah.
So I decided that you usually see the CEOs of those companies talk at a conference, but they feel unapproachable. And if they actually open their doors wider to the community, get some love from the people, but also be more transparent around what they're doing, and hopefully, by getting some outsiders into their offices and sharing some good advice and thoughts, they also manage to find talent to hire. So it serves both ends.
Yep.
But for most of those people, I don't know everybody either. And by just cold emailing, people are actually very, very responsive. So again, ask for help, and ask and you shall receive.
So what's it called? Meetup. So it's meetup.com/
Startup Garage.
Startup Garage. Oh, excellent. And where would people find you then when they want to now get in touch and say, "Oh, Laura, can you help me?"
Easiest way is a website called builtinwellington.com. It's something I set up. The reason I set it up was because there are so many of those meetups, and I wanted to go everywhere, and there wasn't one single calendar to rule them all. So on that website, there's actually quite a useful calendar with all of the Wellington startup and tech events.
Yep.
So if you're interested, check that out. My email address is all over that site, so feel free to contact me anytime.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Laura, for sticking with us. And
Great insights today. It's great.
fantastic. What a fantastic interview. And thanks to Laura, who's such an open and welcoming person, with both a depth of experience and insightful brain that I would heartily encourage startups to get in touch with her. And don't forget New Zealand's first education-focused startup weekend that Laura is involved with. That's weekend of August 29th at Massey University in Mount Cook in Wellington. Find that at wellington.startupweekend.org. And catch our full Access Granted podcast every Tuesday on the #Me network.
#me.co.nz